For over 100 years, the gridiron has tested the will, commitment, and fortitude of two schools separated only by 55 miles of Highway 85.
Let's go! 1,600, and he truly is a leader on the field. Sat behind the record-setting quarterback Lamar Raymond, and now to the air, he hits Elijah Bell, and it's a foot race, and they won't catch him. Bell to the final touchdown, North Carolina.
Yes, as a rookie at North Carolina Central, a freshman, I was all excited about the playing against North Carolina A&T. In junior high school and high school, I went to a lot of Aggie-Eagle games and saw the rivalry unfold right before my eyes.
Coach, we sitting here with legendary Hall of Fame coach and trailblazer William Wild Bill Hayes. And coach, it's kind of interesting because you're a North Carolina Central alumni. Tell me about your experience playing against A&T while at North Carolina Central.
Yes, as a rookie at North Carolina Central, a freshman, I was all excited about the playing against North Carolina A&T. In junior high school and high school, I went to a lot of Aggie-Eagle games and saw the rivalry unfold right before my eyes. And back then, there were a lot of fisticuffs at those games. Some fights broke out, and so it was a lot of emotion in that game. And I as a youngster, I look forward to playing in that A&T North Carolina Central Classic. And I will never forget, as we prepared for it, it used to be on Thanksgiving Day. So we call it the Turkey Day Classic, and I remember just getting ready for it. It was on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. The crazy thing about it was, most of the students would go home for Thanksgiving, so we would be on campus by ourselves, and then we'd take that bus ride up to Greensboro, or the A&T team would come down to Durham, and we would play about 1:30 in the afternoon, and usually it was kind of overcast and kind of dreary type days. I remember it seems like we always had mist or rain or something like that, but we had great crowds. Students would come back from home to watch that game, and so there was always a lot of excitement and a lot of preparation on our part. And the thing about it was, the success of our season at North Carolina Central really depended upon how we did against A&T. And I'm sure it was the same way at A&T.
Right. Now in that rivalry, when you was in college, did you have some teammates, some high school friends or something that played on the opposite side?
Yeah, a few. Not a lot of kids from Durham went to A&T back then, the athletes. A&T didn't really recruit North Carolina, Durham, North Carolina back then. I remember coming out of high school, A&T was way up on my list in places to go to college. I really would look forward to Coach Burt Pickett, who was the football coach at A&T, coming to Durham and recruiting me, but he never did. I had some feelers from different alumni from A&T because they knew I had an interest in A&T, but I guess I just wasn't good enough for Burt Pickett back in the day, which really lit a fire in my heart and my emotions and my preparation for A&T, because I wanted to show the Coach Burt Pickett, that he should have recruited me because I thought I was a good player, and So then I went in the game with really a twofold. We wanted to win the game, but I wanted to prove a point to the A&T coaching staff that they should have recruited me to play football at A&T.
Okay, what was your experience like the week of the first game against A&T, and you're playing in this rivalry on Thanksgiving Day? What was that atmosphere like, and what was that feeling like in preparing for that game?
Craig, you played for me, and I'm a very emotional person, and I get really excited and pumped up for a football game, and I did then. I mean, I didn't sleep the night before, and I just look forward to getting out. I remember my freshman year, we played A&T. I kind of started out slow as a rookie at North Carolina Central. They moved me to center and middle linebacker, and back then it was, you played both ways, and you could only substitute so many players per quarter. So center, offensive line, and linebackers was you could go in the game once a quarter. So if you went in the first quarter, you had to stay in the game the whole quarter. And I remember our starting center, Greer, who was ahead of me, he couldn't play linebacker. And so I moved ahead of him because I was a two-way performer, and so I was the center and the middle linebacker. And so I look forward to that. I remember, back in there, we had some great football players. I look forward to playing against those guys. And I remember their quarterback in my rookie season threw a slant across the middle, and I took it back about 60 yards for a touchdown. So that was a highlight for my getting started against A&T. And I might have waved that football at Coach Brett Pickett as I ran past him on the sidelines.
Awesome. So now we're gonna go into we fast forward. You graduate from North Carolina Central. You go on to become the first African American coach in ACC. Then you go on to be the head coach at Winston-Salem State University, and have a successful career there. And what made you decide to come coach at North Carolina A&T in 1987?
Well, Craig, you got to remember that back when I was a coach at Winston-Salem State, we won a lot of games and won a lot of championships. We played for the division championship 6 times during my 12-year career, and so. But all those years, I look forward to coming and to A&T as a coach. I applied for the head coaching job at A&T 3 times when I was head coach at Winston-Salem State. And the last time I applied, the athletic director came over and talked with me, and we agreed that it would be a good place for me to come and coach. And so that's when I came to A&T as football coach. But I had applied 3 times and been rejected. So I was looking forward to it. I really was pumped up about it. We had a great program at Winston-Salem. Winston-Salem had a history with the big house games and all the things that he had done in the sport of basketball. So it had a little basketball tag to it in terms of schools. Most times they're either a football school or a basketball school, and rarely are they both football and basketball being high-level sports. So at Winston-Salem State, basketball was the sport until I came along. And then, of course, football began to win and take center stage in the waning years of Big House Gaines' career. So I knew A&T was a football school primarily. And so I kind of I always wanted to be a part of that.
Okay, now I looked at when you first came to A&T. Well, first of all, go back. It's amazing that and now you become the winningest coach in Winston-Salem State history, football history, and also in A&T football history. Now, your first year at A&T, I looked it up, and when you faced North Carolina Central for the first time, you took an L.
A&T, Craig, believe it or not, I had all this in my mind. I had all these thoughts about the program at A&T, and it was extremely positive in my mind. But when I actually got here, I realized what a rebuilding job I had to do in terms of equipment, in terms of facilities. It was a mega job to reconstruct the football program. You remember back our locker room would only accommodate 35 players, and I think we had 115 players on the team my first year at A&T, but that diminished really quickly when we went through those fourth quarter drills, and I began to implement my program. So, I expected more than I found when I got here, and I was too proud to do anything else but roll my sleeves up and work hard to put things in place. That's what I did.
Right. Now you're getting ready and you're coaching at A&T, that your first year there, and now you're on the opposite side, going back to play against North Carolina Central in a rivalry game that at your alma mater. What was that experience like? What was that preparation like? And leading up to that week, hearing back from your people at Central about you playing them, how was that?
Always hectic. But the thing that stands out in my mind the most was my family, my mom and my dad and my family in Durham. We lived a couple of blocks from North Carolina Central. And I could come through the back way and I could be at Central in about 5 minutes from my house. So my mother was getting on up in age and my father passed, and so now I'm the coach at A&T coming back to Durham. And you know how senior citizens are. My mom on the telephone with her girlfriends, and they're talking about her son Bill, and he's the coach at A&T now. And my mama was an extremely proud woman. I think I took a lot of my pride from my mom, so she was excited and quietly pumped up. And so she would come and sit on the front porch because she could hear the crowd from our front porch. And so if the crowd was really loud, she knew her son was having trouble, getting beat. And if the crowd was if the noise was really quiet and she couldn't hear noise in the stadium, she knew we were doing a job on North Carolina Central. So I always had my mom in mind when I went back to Durham to play against North Carolina Central. And I always wanted to, all of my buddies, high school buddies, and my friends in Durham, I always wanted to do something to make them proud of me, and in most cases, I did.
Okay, now with that first, time back at Central, what was that like with, being on the opposite sideline?
Craig.
Friends in the stands.
Man, absolutely unbelievable to go back home and with my football team, the A&T Aggies, and play against the Eagles. It was absolutely unbelievable. The emotions were so high. Of course, I didn't sleep at all the whole week in preparation for it. But our football team was ready. Now, the first year we took an L. We hadn't gotten it together. We had a lot of work to do, a lot of rebuilding to do to put the program in place. But I think the record shows that over those years, that 15 years when I was at A&T, I think we won 13 games. We won 12 out of 15 games, I think. I think game number 13, we lost, and when we lost, that was my demise as a football coach.
Yeah, you went on the streak, but that's the longest winning streak in the history of the rivalry. It was 13 games during your tenure at A&T.
Didn't we win 12 straight, Craig? I think we did.
Yeah, you won 12 straight.
Yeah.
It's ironic. You lost the first matchup against Central, and then you lost the last matchup against Central.
Well, the last time that I lost to Central was the last time I coached at A&T.
Wow.
Yeah. 12 games in a row wasn't quite enough for the administration during that time. I guess they wanted to win them all.
Right. Now I know that during your team this turned into a classic, and you played at different locations. And I know from playing for you that you wasn't too keen on us getting excited about the crowds and paying attention to the tailgates and the fans and everything that goes on around the game. But can you tell about how the experience was in those matchups?
We Aggie-Eagle Classic? The game moved. I think we moved to Raleigh. and played in Carter Finley Stadium. We played the game got too big for Central's football stadium. And, we started out at A&T playing down at the baseball stadium back in the day. And then, of course, the stadium was built on campus, and then we moved the game to the stadium on campus. So we probably moved around 4 or 5 times during my tenure and playing in that game. But it was always a big rivalry, and it was always hard in my mind as a coach. It seemed like our players had too many distractions, too many parties, too many parades, too much outside forces that I thought in my mind was going to affect our play. So I was really paranoid, as a coach about staying in control. I felt like I always had to be in control of our football team and its actions on and off the field. And so it would absolutely worry me to death the night before a game, the week before leading up to the game, Thursday nights, Friday nights especially. What are my guys doing? Are they getting enough rest? Are they where they're supposed to be? God, I hope nobody gets in any trouble. It's just mind-boggling to think about all the thoughts that I had as a coach in preparation for that game.
Right. Now was there any situation where any of your friends or former teammates that was at Central try to get you distracted before you coaching one of those games?
I blocked all that out. I wouldn't let them get to me. I lost a lot of friends along the way, Craig. A lot of friends expected me to get involved with the ongoings, the social part of the preparation for the game, but none of that for me. I was zeroed in on winning, zeroed in on performing at the best we could. So again, I lost a lot of buddies because they said, what's wrong with him? Something's wrong with this guy. He don't want to come and hang out with us. He thinks he thinks he's too good for us now. I had one objective, and that was to get our team to play at a high level and to come out with an L and make my family proud and the university.
Right. Now, out of your tenure at A&T and coaching in this rivalry, is there any particular games or game that stick out to you the most?
Probably one game sticks out the most, and that was that we played we played a game at Carter Finley Stadium, and we jumped out to a big lead. That was my last game, and they put a whipping on us. They came out with a passing game, and I lost 2 coaches in August, weeks before the season. And so we had to flip our offense right in the end, and we reverted back to an offense that I really wasn't pleased with. But I was trapped. I lost my offensive coordinator. I lost my offensive line coach, and all them just weeks before that game. And that game really bothered me because I wasn't involved enough offensively because of the change, because of our quarterback status, and so that was just frustrating.
Right. Okay. So let me now that you retired from coaching, and now you go visit A&T. You're at A&T. You're in the Hall of Fame of A&T and Central, and you're in every Hall of Fame that I can name of right now. But, what is it like now experiencing this rivalry from a former coach and now former athletic director at North Carolina Central? What is it now? How is it like experiencing this rivalry?
Yeah, Craig, when I look back on my 15 years at A&T, when I look back on where we started from a facility standpoint, we didn't have a locker room per se. We played in a tent. I coached my team out of a tent for 10 years. And we still played at a high level. We won championships at a high level. So when I go to those games now, and I look at those coaches now, and I look at the facilities they have now, we did a lot of that. You and the other guys that played for me, we laid the groundwork for Aggie football in 2021. because they have no semblance of what we went through. They have no semblance for the challenge that we overcame to put a good product on the field. And sometimes I wonder, do they really realize what price we paid to be good, and what price we paid to win a national championship in 1999 in a tent? We're probably the only Aggie football team that in a season beat Appalachian. Turn around a couple of weeks later, we beat Western Carolina. Then a couple weeks later, we beat Liberty on their home field. Then turn around and a great FAMU team came in for homecoming, and we beat up on them on our field. Now it was a one heck of a contest, because I think it was like 55 to 49 or something like that. Defense was out the window. But when I look back on those days and the things that we accomplished and the teams that we excelled and beat, we played at a real high level and sent numerous kids on to the NFL. And not only that, we had guys to go out and become leaders in all kinds of professions, from doctors to lawyers to chemists to educators to, pro football coaches and high school football. Our guys excel at a high level. And I really think it was because of the kind of structure that I had in the program that we had, and the discipline that we had that you guys who played under me, that I put out there for you all, made you toe the line and made you know what it felt like to be successful, and the price you had to pay to be successful. We made that a premium. From every Wednesday during the off season, if you remember back, every Wednesday from January to we met about how you get things done, how you go on an interview, what kind of suit you need to have on for this event, what kind of suit you need to have on for that event, and how you eat. You remember we had a lady come in to teach us how, in a formal dinner, which knife and fork you use. Because I had some guys that came out of some pretty tough situations. So did I. So I thought that was important to coach the whole boy. Certainly I wasn't dealing with boys, but that was the expression that I used. My job as a football coach is not only to bring out the most in my players as football, but bring the most out of my players as men and prepare them for life. And that's what we tried to do. That was our goal. So it just wasn't about football. It was about coaching the whole person, going to church on Sunday as a team, and the whole thing. So we dealt with the whole gamut of what it takes to take a boy and make a man out of him. And I think we did a good job.
Right, you're right. You did an awesome job. And I even in everyday life that we're working, I think about what would Coach Hayes do, or what would Coach Hayes say. and I remember the locker room, and I remember the tent. So for what's the significance of this rivalry between A&T and North Carolina Central for it to continue on for years to come?
Well, I think A&T has done a good job in upgrading the facilities and equipment and the recruiting, and I think Central is a step behind right now. I think that they've got to make that step to go and build a stadium, and they've got to put the athletic facilities in place to take that program to the next level. And the longer they wait, the harder it's going to be. So, as a former Eagle, I'm just looking forward to the day when North Carolina Central makes that step to move out of that stadium that I played in. They play in the same stadium I played in.
Wow.
And the same field that I played on. In fact, we are celebrating our 1961 championship this year. 60 years ago, that's the championship we're celebrating at North Carolina Central this year. That championship was won on the same field that they're playing on now. So I think that Central has to step it up. I think they've got to do a complete job on their athletic facilities throughout. And it's going to be costly, but it's something that's got to be done. So I think when they do that, then the rivalry will become closer right, because right now I think A&T is dominant.
Right. Now tell me, now that you retired coach at A&T, and now you come back to the North Carolina Central A&T Classic games, and most time now it's done at the home turf. What is it like now for you and the feeling you have when you're out, you coming out? I see you at the tailgates and stuff, hanging out with your former players and stuff, and just reminiscing why this rivalry that we all played in is taking place. What is that camaraderie feeling like?
First thing I got to do is remember that your alma mater, like I told you all and drilled into you guys, your alma mater is your mother. North Carolina Central is my alma mater. That's my mother. And so I have mixed emotions. First, I got to decide which colors I'm going to wear when I come to the game. So I try to make sure that I'm kind of neutral in it, but I still want to make sure that I honor my mother and my alma mater. But I also remember all the fantastic experiences that I had as a coach at North Carolina A&T. So I'm kind of in a crossfire. I'm kind of in a neutral zone as to who to root for, because a lot of my emotions are with my alma mater and reflecting back on when I played. But then when I look around at that blue and gold, a lot of my life and a lot of my hard work and a lot of the blood, sweat, and tears that we spent in that blue and gold come to mind. So it's a tough situation for me.
Right. And my last question is, what does it mean to be the head football coach at North Carolina and A&T State University?
That was the highlight of my life, I think. There's so much excitement, so much work to do. I was one of those guys, and you know this. I'm gonna give it all I got. I'm gonna work 7 days a week. I'm not gonna take any time off. And when I look back on what we put into it, and the amount of work we did to build a winning team, all the obstacles that we encountered along the way, and a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. When I think about all that, Craig, it's just absolutely unbelievable. The emotions that I feel, and the pride, and the loyalty and the dedication I feel to my former student athletes, yourself, and all the rest of them. I think we probably got the best relationship between players and coaches that I've ever seen anywhere. I've got a list of players that we stay in constant contact every day, 365 days a year with you and all the other guys that I coach. We're always in touch, and so I'm proud of that, because I think it's very unusual and different, the relationships that we've built over the years through blood, sweat, and tears. Because I know I was pretty tough and drove a hard bargain and was unrelenting in what I expected from you guys. But I think now that you all are men and you'll have your own families and your own jobs and careers, you understand now what I was trying to do a lot more than you did when we were doing it. And so I think it was all good.
Yeah, I just to piggyback on that, I talk to guys that, just about the relationship, we talk 2 or 3 times a month. And I look at the relationship guys that I know that I play NFL ball with. They play for Clemson or Carolina or USC, some of those places. And they don't know the last time they talked to their coach. They don't have a relationship that, maybe if they bring the team back for a 30-year anniversary or something like that, they'll meet and get with their coach or something like that, but they don't have a relationship that, we have and you have with your players, not just with one player, with all your players.
That's right. That's right. I talk to 2 or 3 players a day, every day. So that's one of the joys and highlights of my life is the relationships that we have.
Right. Well, Coach, that's all the questions I have. I think you did an awesome job.
Well, thank you, Craig, and thanks to A&T for giving me the opportunity to coach. And that's something I wanted to do as a young student athlete. I wanted to be here. I wanted to coach. I wanted to take the program to a high level, and we did. And so I'm proud of A&T, and I'm proud of my alma mater, North Carolina Central. I think Central's got a lot of work to do, and I'm proud to say that I would love to be a part of that work.
Right. And this concludes the interview with the winningest coach in Aggie history, William Wild Bill Hayes.
Thank you.